the subject of this lecture is the sojourn and slavery in Egypt, biblical chronologies before the Exodus. Next slide, please. The secular community likes to point out what they perceive to be discrepancies in the Bible, and no better opportunity for them, they feel, than the biblical chronologies or timelines. And one of the things they love to talk about is the time conflict before the Exodus. And they point out, well, my goodness, Exodus 12:40 could be interpreted that the sons of Israel in Egypt had lived there for 430 years until the advent of the Exodus. Then they point out, well, there's a problem, because let's look in the New Testament, because Galatians 3:16 and 17, the 430-year period comprised the time when Abraham received God's promise until the law was given to Moses. And then they say, oh my goodness, this is a problem, because in Genesis 15:13, God says to Abraham that they were going to be afflicted for 400 years in a land that was not theirs. So just like that, you have three different time periods, 430 years being the time in Egypt, 430 years being the time from Abraham to the law of Moses, and then you have 400 years being the time between the affliction, the time of the affliction in a land that was not theirs. Well, Vickery has answered this. Next slide, please. And notes that, hey, wait a second. The Samaritan Pentateuch and the Alexandrian copy of the Septuagint exhibit the change in Exodus 12:40, which reads, now the sojourning of the children of Israel and of their forefathers in the land of Canaan and in the land of Egypt was 430 years. That's the more accurate translation. So if we go back, the emphasis is not the dwelling in Egypt. It is the entire period of sojourning. So when we look, next slide please. So when we look at Paul's summary, this fits in, because Paul's summary agrees with the Samaritan Pentateuch and the Alexandrian copy of the Septuagint, and bolsters the idea that no, the 430 years does not mean the period in Egypt. The 430 years means the entire time from Abraham, and Paul is quite clear about this, God's promise to Abraham to the giving of the law to Moses, which is near the time of the Exodus. Now, other Jewish and Christian scholars have agreed through the years. This is not a new thing, but this is hoisted on us kind of by secular theologians who are just, aha, I gotcha. But this has been answered again and again in the past. Pseudo-Philo, Eusebius Pamphilus, all have commented about this. Next slide, please. So here you have the timeline of the 430 years. Basically, when Adam is 75, when he receives he enters Canaan, to the time that the Exodus takes place is 430 years. Now, again, there is another important, the time that Isaac is weaned to the time of the Exodus is 400 years. And just keep that in mind when we talk about the next slide.